Thank you for doing that. Where's that now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Everyone turns their mics back on, please. So thank you for their patience in that we wanted to make sure that the streaming service was available, and it was. So we are going to move on to old business. This is a second reading, and this is ordinance 2024-19, a development agreement. Attorney Rose, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is ordinance number 2024-19, an ordinance of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, relating to approval of a development agreement pertaining to properties owned by Daytona Ocean Investment Corp. And Hotel Motel LLC in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 15 of the Land Development Code and the Florida Local Government Development Agreement Act as set forth in sections 163.3220 through 163.3243 Florida statutes, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for conflicts, providing for a savings provision in the effect of the ordinance, providing for severability, providing for non-codification as well as the correction of scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Attorney. Stewart? And I see you have Attorney Stewart switched to tonight if we have any questions.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Would you like me to go through the overall presentation or just a summary?
Just a summary, please. So again, this is second reading.
Yes, Madam Mayor, Commissioners, thank you. For the record, my name is Stuart Cruz, Community Service Director with the City of Daytona Beach Shores. This particular ordinance, if it is adopted tonight on second reading, is an ordinance that would approve the development agreement application between the City of Daytona Beach Shores and Ocean Investment Corp. and Hotel Motel LLC located at 2601 to 2613 South Atlantic Avenue. This encompasses 4 parcels, and if this development agreement is approved, it would permit the construction of an 8-story, 101-unit hotel resort building. So this would be a Cambria development, as I had mentioned at the last hearing. There are some highlights that are articulated in your staff report. One thing I do want to highlight that has changed since first reading, and you may recall at the first reading, the agent of the owner voluntarily stipulated a $30,000 contribution towards the city's public beach access maintenance fund, and that is articulated and represented in the development agreement, in the public benefits, and also the terms of the agreement section of the development agreement. If there's any questions from me, I'll be happy to take those. Staff has reviewed this, the city attorney has reviewed it, and all other requisite review has been done, and staff is recommending approval.
Okay, and again, did our P&Z board also recommend approval?
Yes, the Planning and Zoning Board did recommend approval, and the City Commission approved the first reading. And also, all due public notice requirements have been submitted and have been made for the record as well.
Thank you, Director Cruz. Is there any comment on this before we go ahead for the motion?
I just have a question. Stuart, the contribution, is it towards the revamping or the improvement of the public access or towards the maintenance?
It would be towards the future maintenance. So you may have noticed that there are only stairs there right now because the actual ADA version of the dune walkover were destroyed by the recent storms.
Yeah.
And so we actually are going to bring to the commission at the next public hearing contracts to have those redone. And so whenever those are redone, this particular set of money would be used towards towards maintaining it in the future. And in addition, after 5 years, also maintaining any other public beach access within the city as well with whatever monies are left over.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we do have a comment from the audience. If you'd like to come forward, please just state your name. Wanted to let you know too, before our resident comes up, remember when I talked about, no, you can come up here, and okay. I talked about too, what's very, very important to me is that I want feedback from our residents on what is happening. Again, example is when Valor came in, they met with Towers 10 several times, so that's important to me. The 2 things are resident feedback and also the financial impact to the city. So they are not asking for any funds, so that way with that. I do want to say the vast majority of the people at the Sherwin are happy of what's going on there. The city manager and I were there answering some questions. So, ma'am, if you'd like to start, please. Thank you.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners,
I am Elaine, also from the Sherwin 2555 South Atlantic Avenue, and I am here to beg you to reconsider your decision in favor of long-term property owners and long-term property ownership. When you have condo buildings full of mostly nice, responsible, tax-paying homeowners, some of whom are managing to keep up with constant assessments and costs and surviving hurricanes, and although the county didn't call any of us, as the palm trees laid down during the hurricanes, I was begging people that still remain to leave because our lives and property were literally on the line. And I feel you shouldn't be forcing such hardy, good citizens as us to leave forever because we can't take the disruptions and indignities anymore. And we haven't been given the time or resources to hire lawyers and raise retainer fees to protect our interests and our years of investments. Instead, it seems here that the winner is the equivalent of a 10-story structure of transient strangers who will be looking at us and cutting off our views. This hotel's applicants, high-priced lawyers and publicists, may have drawn you some pretty pictures, but they don't live in the Sherwin. This is not their retirement plan location, and we have no reason to trust them or their short-term, unvetted guests to be good stewards of our community and considerate of our stakeholders beyond their word on it, or rather the word of their proxies. And we can only look at their previous standards of business ethics and practices in our community. Please do not send me realtors. I won't respond to solicitation or calls. But as I've told the mayor, about 2 decades ago, I moved my late mother from a beautifully renovated private Gulf Sunset home to the Sherwin, intending a quiet, peaceful, reasonably private retirement for us, closer to hospitals, but in a section of the shores at a floor level high enough to give us privacy because I knew the motel, 3-story motel next door, had insufficient land to allow for the construction of a high-rise structure, as well as necessary parking, which in the case of a 100-unit building and employee, staff, guests, 130, 150 spaces. But at any rate, I paid a higher price for my unit to ensure that it was at a level such that our panoramic view of the Intercoastal Waterway and community, along with the water tower, that panoramic view would not be obscured. Now, while the municipality is apparently looking for its
Your
financial
3 minutes are up, but by all means, finish that last sentence that you have there.
Okay. The Sherwin owners, especially to the south, are losing all their advantages. It's not just the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I will lose from my retire investment, but it's the years and years of tolerating the ongoing projects and hurricanes and surviving all of that to finally get back our swimming pool and beach access, only to be faced with this prospect of years more mess and stress and damage and danger in construction.
Thank you very much for thank you very much.
I beg you to reconsider.
Thank you. There's one other thing, and I believe, that I think it's pertinent that we think about right now. So, the Seascape, Stuart, how many years old is the Seascape?
I believe it's early 70s, Madam Mayor.
Okay, all right, so we're talking 50 years? 50
It's
years
all
plus.
time, yes.
So again, today, the city manager and I were there at the, at the Sherwin today, and we took as much of a look around as we can, and a lot of, it doesn't look, it doesn't look good right now. And then Sergeant Frank, I hate to put you on the spot, but I understand there was an incident, if you just want to speak into that, an incident, I believe it was on June 1st, there was a couple felony arrests and also a fire set there.
Yes, ma'am, there were 3 felons. There were 3 felony arrests that evening. These gentlemen driving a small pickup truck pulled into the parking lot. They broke into a room, committed a burglary, and one of them set fire to a mattress inside the room. We were able to arrest all 3 individuals, charging them from the narcotics that they all had, to burglary, to arson, to stolen.
Okay, thank you. And can you go back again? Is this the first incident you've had there? Has there been any more incidents that you know of? I know you've been with the city for many years.
Yes, there's been many incidents of arrests there, especially particularly lately. I'm not sure why the uptick, but it is an area of concern for us. It is an area of focus for us. We just had an arrest there on the property today, as a matter of fact.
All right, thank you, Sergeant. So that, that's what I'm looking at too. And we do want to take everything into consideration, the outward look of that building. And then also, just because of the way that it is right now, it seems to frequent just probably the clientele that I would think the Sherwin, wouldn't want. But Attorney Sturridge, do you have anything to say before we?
I would appreciate it. First of all, for the record, my name is Glenn Storage, and I represent the applicant in this case. And you're absolutely correct. I mean, most cities would be just thrilled about redevelopment of a 54-year-old structure. And the fact that this is going to bring in a $24 million building instead that is up to the date and an upscale hotel. Part of the problem, and I'm sure the police chief will tell you this as well, is that this is an antiquated hotel. It has an outdoor, all the doors are outside. So you walk up, you can jimmy the doors and get inside, unfortunately. That's what happened in this case with the fire. And so this is not a good situation. And so we've been doing our best to deal with the older hotel, but this needs to be converted. The fact that we have someone willing to invest so much in the city of Daytona Beach Shores, and a beautiful hotel that's already zoned, already consistent with the comp plan, and the height is what is allowed. We're not asking for anything regarding the height or anything else. This would seem to be an ideal situation. So my only concern, and in fact many of the people that I talked to at Sherwin, which I really enjoyed sitting there and talking to them for a few hours, was the fact that one of the persons said, "Can you make it faster? Can you build it faster?" And so I asked my client.
Thank you. And I'm sorry that one of the residents was told, I don't know how many years ago, there will never be anything there. Right now, I own a condo at the Peninsula, and there are 3 one-story buildings there. I'm on the north side. And so right now, I know I have to be, if somebody would buy those 3 properties, I believe I've checked with our community service director, and ours could be up to 26 feet. So, nobody told me nothing's ever going to go there. You do need to investigate.
And I'm sure your city attorney will tell you as well, you don't have a view shed right. There is no such thing as a view shed right. And in fact, when the Sherwin was built, obviously it blocked the view of our hotel. Mm-hmm. No complaints, because we didn't have a view shed right. And so when people say, oh, you can't build anything because it will impact my view, even though you have a right to build, you have it zoned, and you have a comp plan, and you have the height without any deviations or anything else, then I don't understand. In fact, in this particular case, as you know, we're even sitting back further from the Sherwin than we're required to, and further than it is right now.
Okay.
So I don't know what else we could do.
Thank you very much. Sergeant Frank, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Yes, sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
I believe it's more relevant to this. Approximately a week before that stolen vehicle was located on that property in the fire, we had a guest of the Seascape 2601 go onto the property next door at the Sherwin 2555, and they stole a $700 stroller from one of the property owners there. So the problems that are occurring there aren't just limited to that property, they're branching out.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much for adding that. Does anyone else from the Sherwin have anything they want to add before we take a vote on this? Anything else? I heard most of the feedback while I was there today. So with that all being said, do I hear a motion on ordinance 2024-19?
Make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Card and a second from Vice Mayor. Any other discussion on the dais? And anything else that you'd like to talk? Okay, if not, Sherry, can you take a vote on that, please?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Card?
Yes.
Commissioner, Vice Mayor Bliss?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, thank you.
If I can, I'm sorry. I've got to tell you that your staff was just great. They were efficient. They came up with great ideas. We solved all the problems. I couldn't ask for anything better as far as working together with the staff. So
Okay.
I've got to give them kudos.
Okay, great. And not making anyone have a big head, but city manager and I was at a Florida League of Mayors last week, and we stopped in to see the Serena property. We stopped into Valor headquarters, and they could not say enough words, great words about our staff, how helpful they were, especially our director Cruz, not only saying, no, you can't do that, but saying, how about if you did this, coming up. So we appreciate you, Director. Okay, so next, thank you so much, Attorney Stewart.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to go on to item A under new business, and that's Resolution 2024-06. And this is authorization to submit a loan application. So Attorney Boyce, I'm going to have you read that, but I either want, Director Cruz to talk a little bit. It sounds like it's a loan application, but it's not really. So Attorney Boyce, if you could start, please.
Okay, this is resolution number 2024-06, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, relating to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program, making findings, authorizing the loan application, authorizing the loan agreement, designating an authorized representative, providing assurances, providing for conflict severability, and an effective date.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Attorney
Madam
Cruz.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. As you probably know, the sanitary sewer system that we have in Daytona Beach Shores is severely outdated. They're basically, seeing the last, end of their lifetime right about as we speak today. And so this particular resolution, if it's approved tonight, will authorize the city to submit a loan application to, as the city attorney just read, to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program. That's long, right? So essentially, if this is approved, within the next few days or so, the city would go ahead and submit this loan application. It's a 100% principal forgiveness loan, and the amount is in the amount of $14,550,000. And what it would be used for is to basically, for resiliency purposes, to basically retrofit the sewer collection lift stations that we have here in the city, in terms of making them more resilient to hurricanes and to storms and to the natural environment. So what we would do is we would change some of the systems that are in there, including the electrical, the control panels, and also the ponds that essentially hold and basically pump the materials, let's call it that, throughout the sewer collection system. It is something that's very, very near, very, very needed in the city. And if this is approved, we will be one step closer towards seeing those things that are outdated and seeing their useful life being retrofitted and replaced pursuant to the goals and objectives that we have with the Clean Water Act and here in Daytona Beach Shores.
Okay. Just want to make sure that everyone does understand, even though it says loan, we will not be required to pay anything back. It's at 100%.
That is correct. And if the finance director or the city manager want to chime in, I'm sure they'll do a great job as well.
Great. Director Irwin, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, we are in budget season now, so I just wanted to let you know that when we do bring budget next month to you, that the loan will be on there.
For the 14.3?
14.5 million. But there'll also be a revenue line for the same amount.
So it'll be a zero. Okay, all right, great. Thanks for explaining that. I know when the city manager first mentioned to me, so yeah, I'm glad we understand that. Thank you. Again, this is a first reading. Is this on a resolution that we get public input?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So after our director has explained that, does anyone have any questions on it? Anyone in the audience? Well, thank you very much. 14.3 million, or five, I always say 14.5 million will go a long way. Thank you very much for everything that.
And the decision by the DEP will be made by August 12th. So around that time, we should have a good idea as to whether or not we're moving forward. But we've been told by our engineering consultants that there's a very good chance.
Great, wonderful news. Okay, if there's no questions from the audience, does anyone on the commission have any questions about this? Okay, if not, can I have a motion to approve as presented?
Go ahead, Chris.
No, absolutely.
I so move to accept ordinance 2024.19.
Second.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion from our Vice Mayor Politis and a second from Commissioner Economos. Any other discussion? If not, Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Vice Mayor Politis,
Yes.
Commissioner Economos,
Yes.
Commissioner Card,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we're going to move on to Resolution 2024-08. And this, as we talked about previously, is our new commission monthly meeting schedule that will take effect in January of 2025. Tony Voice, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is resolution number 2024-08, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Daytona Beach Shores, adopting a new commission monthly meeting schedule beginning January 2025, providing for severability, providing for conflicting resolutions, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. All right, and I think we decided, if you read on in here, that our meetings will move to the first Tuesday of every month, and that we will hold the third Tuesday of every month for either a second meeting if needed or a workshop. Do I have a motion to accept Resolution 2024-08?
I'll
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Economos and a second by our Vice Mayor. And I did want to ask, is there any audience feedback on this? Anything anyone would like to add? So remember, mark your calendars for January 25. We'll make sure that we give you a lot of advance notice. So Sherry, take a roll on this, please.
Commissioner Economos,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Politis,
Yes.
Commissioner Card,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Next, we're going to have a hearing on notice of termination of contract with Volusia County Towing. And Attorney Vos, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, this is not a resolution or an ordinance, but it is a quasi-judicial hearing.
Okay.
And so we'll be asking everyone who's going to be presenting information to please stand up, and the city clerk will swear you in.
Thank you.
And this is city staff and the owners of the towing company, anybody who's going to be presenting information.
Okay, so is it just our city manager?
That's all I'm saying.
Beats me.
All right, thank you.
For clarification, if there's anybody that wants to speak on this item, they need to be sworn in.
And maybe I should explain what a quasi-judicial hearing is. This is going to be more formal than the rest of our meeting. It is less formal than a court hearing, but we will be hearing, and it sounds like we'll only be hearing one side. But if there is anyone who wants to present any testimony or any discussion, anything at all that would be favorable to the towing company to weigh in on saying why the towing company should keep their contract, then they need to be sworn in. And otherwise, we'll just hear from the city manager.
Okay, great. So again, for the last time, is there anyone else that wants to speak on this issue? Okay, Sherry?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth during tonight's hearing?
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone on the dais that had any ex parte communication on this topic?
No.
Okay. The only thing I had is that I had a previous conversation with our city manager, and that's the only exposure I've had to this. Just wanted to say that. So would you like to, is there anything that you need to go over, or just?
Yes, the city manager should just make a presentation of the city's position in this regard.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I will keep this short. Most of the information you probably have read in the agenda packet. I'm going to primarily focus on page 108 of our agreement, and the issue that prompted everything is, in essence, slow pay and no pay response with this contract. The contract calls for payments to be made first of the month following the month of service. And if you look at page 108 of the agenda, literally the whole time of this contract, there has not been a payment made on the first of the month. And then as we got to the more recent times, we still have months that are outstanding. And instead of continuing to try and chase the payment on this, staff felt it was time to go ahead and end this contract and find a new provider. So we reached out to the attorney to see what we needed to do. And this is why we're here tonight. So in essence, if you look at page 108, the chart, it shows that the last payment made on May 2nd was for February, which was 62 days late. And we still have not received payments for either March or April, despite repeated attempts at communication with the company. So at this point, staff is asking for termination of this contract. And I'll keep it simple like that.
Okay. After our city manager has spoke, is there any questions directed to him? If not, can anyone from the audience like to speak on this? Okay, if not, I hear a motion to approve the termination of this agreement with Volusia County Towing.
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
I second.
Thank you. All right, so Sherry, can you take a vote on that, please? That was Vice Mayor for the motion and Commissioner Curd for the second.
Yes, ma'am. Vice Mayor Planas?
Yes.
Commissioner Carr?
Yes.
Commissioner Condos?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you.
Mayor Miller, could I ask a question?
Certainly.
Do you know the approximate amount of the arrearages, what the money is owed?
Yes.
The city manager does and have, and I'm sure our director does.
It's probably a little around 4,000 right now, if I'm reading this spreadsheet correctly.
Okay, I presume staff will make a decision whether it's in the best interest of the city to pursue litigation for that amount, breach of contract. Yeah, we'll consider that at another time. Okay, that's the only question I
All
have.
right,
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, next we're going to move on to our city manager evaluation. So every year by our, is it our charter that
Yes.
we do evaluate our city manager. So if you look in there, Sherry, what was his final score? Was it 4?
I believe 4.98.
Okay, it's in there. It's 4.98 out of a possible 5. So as you can see, it's a very good score. You know, you look at, well, in fact, can I ask, did everyone get a chance to go over the evaluation with the city manager? Okay, all right, everyone has. You know, I came from an HR background, and, you know, these evaluations are very, very important if it's a two-way street, if we're documenting, you know, why the reason is we gave them a 5, why the reason is we're giving them 3. And I hope everybody agrees with me. This evaluate, first of all, congratulations on that excellent evaluation. We appreciate that. I think our city manager is doing a great job. But this form that you're using, so was it 6 years ago that we found out? Maybe 5 years ago. With City Manager Booker, we found out we needed to do it. And anyway, there was a controversy over it. So I took it upon myself to figure out what evaluation we'd be using. I'm going to be the first one to say this is repetitious, repeating. It's very, very hard to figure it out. So I am going to ask if Commissioner Kanamos, so I'm trying to divide up the duties a little bit. I know that the Vice Mayor is going to the TPO. Commissioner Card is now our Economic Development Liaison. So I'm going to ask you, and there is no time frame on this, but as soon as possible, if you could investigate some evaluation of a city manager that would be easier for all of us to fill out, that you're not out. Do you agree that it was the same questions over and over again in a different form? It just didn't flow very well to me. It was the best I found at the time, but I think we need to update it. Now, naturally, we want our city manager to know what he's going to be evaluated on for the next year. So the sooner the better. No jumping out windows, crossing, things like that. So if you could look into that, we would greatly appreciate that. Do you think we're having a meeting, at the end of June and not the first one in July? Do you think it's a reasonable time frame if you come back that last meeting in July, so about 6 weeks from now, it's something that you think would work better for us?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. All right. Does everyone agree with that? I mean, I know this was your first year filling it out. But even when I was filling out the comments, I put down, as stated previously, because it was just over and over again. We'd appreciate that. So, Sherry, can you give us the date on that last meeting in July? I'm sorry, get a calendar. Anyway, it would be the only meeting we're having in July because we did cancel that first one.
That would be July 23rd.
Okay, July 23rd. If you can come up with a draft that we will look, and maybe on that date, we'll decide even if we need a workshop to go over it. So I appreciate it. So right now, that is the score that our city manager got. I know a lot of you interact with him. He is very good about if anybody reaches out to any of our residents, reach out to him. He is very good. He's always accessible. Is there any comments that you would like to make about our city manager besides what our commission has done? Okay, if not, so that's the way that stands on that. So now we're going to move on to our city attorney comments.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. And city manager, do you have any comments?
Yes, I do have a couple of comments. Just to let you know, it'll be within my spending authority, but based on the action that was taken previously, I've asked the attorney to come up with a temporary contract for emergency towing services. The reason being, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you that there's a truck event coming this weekend. So I've been notified that I don't think they've issued it formally yet, but the Volusia County Sheriff's Office will be enacting a special event zone. It will not be our whole city. I'm told it's going to run from Florida Shores Boulevard north to Bel Air Plaza. And it'll be both from the river to the beach. So that whole area, so I'm hoping we don't, but at the truck events, we need towing services.
Right where all of us live.
Yes.
Okay, all 4 of us live.
That's the southern end, so we're hoping it's not creeping down into our city too much, but if that, when that officially gets noticed, I'll send that out.
Okay, can you help me to understand why do they think they're going to stop at Florida Shores and turn around and go back? How was that decision made?
The sheriff made it.
Okay.
Sheriff's office, I don't know if the sheriff himself made that, but he will be the one declaring the event.
Okay.
So,
Can I ask the question too, have we arranged in advance, and I don't know if this would be Sergeant Frank, normally we ask for mutual aid from cities that are not affected. Is that something we can do again this year?
I can take that.
Oh, okay.
I've talked with the chief. The chief is out at his
Yes.
annual conference, and we have not asked for mutual aid this year, but we are fully staffing, ramping up our staffing for those nights. But there are other agencies, if needed, they'll respond.
Great, thank you. Is there any questions for our city manager? Certainly, Deborah, if you'd like to come forward, again, just state your name and address.
Yes, I'm Deborah Taylor from St. Kitts. I don't know if you realize that this is the time of year where the additional sand is coming back to our beaches, so everyone's getting stuck now. And any vehicle that is traveling up and down that disregards the lifeguards saying, don't drive in this, they've decided now that this will be fun to drive, and they're getting stuck. So the lifeguards now are pulling these people out. I just wanted to make you aware of that for your truck this weekend. It may be an interesting weekend.
Maybe. And I'm sure Sergeant Frank, I know, you know, the beach, the sheriff is controlling that now, his deputies, so I'm sure they're well aware.
Yes, ma'am, they are.
Okay, thank you. Did you have another item for us? Okay, that is it. Any questions for our city manager on anything? Okay, I'll start this evening with commission comments. We are going to have one more meeting before this, but I want to give advance notice that we are going to have a June 28th concert. Director Maddox, that is not a food truck event, is it?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right, great. Okay, so that will start at 6, what time's the 6 o'clock? 6:30 on a food truck, okay. Next, I'm inviting everyone, and I'd love to see you. As you know, I normally host Coffee with the Mayor once a month, and the city manager, I guess I contacted him about 4 years ago. I'm sure I stole this idea from somebody in the Florida League of Mayors, and they said that they have something so that the residents know who on staff is going to be able to handle any issues they have. So this, I believe, is the 4th year in the row we're doing that. So our city manager will be introducing his staff, what their responsibilities are, anything that falls underneath those people and their staff. You'll get to meet that evening, and I think the format's going to be a little bit different this year. Do you want to share that with us, or it's going to be a surprise?
It's going to be a surprise. It will be different, but we're going to have some good prizes as well.
Oh, prizes, okay. All right, well, Shores people love prizes and refreshments. We're going to have both. So I urge you to come out. And then, you know, going forward, if you, I would love to have you at Coffee with the Mayor. Along with our Director Maddox, we try to get very, very informative guest speakers that are going to add to the Shores and tell us a little bit about what's going on there. So I'd hope to see everyone tomorrow. It's going to be upstairs from 5 to 7, so looking forward to seeing you there. And then the last thing I want to tell you about, again, you know, I've talked about the initiative of our president of Florida League of Mayors is mental health, mentorship, and veterans. So on May 26th, that is a Friday, does it start? July 26th. Does it start at 11:30? Is that 11 o'clock? So we're going to have, again, light refreshments, but this is going to be a mental health clinic. And these are people that I've met going to the Jacksonville area, and they've totally impressed me. We're going to have them there, our local SMA, and then someone from Veterans. Again, just a community service type thing. So anyone that wants to come that day, I would love to have you. It's going to be a wonderful forum. And that is all I have. So Commissioner Card, what do you have for us this evening?
I would just like to commend the police department. I happened to be driving by last Friday night when the commotion was going on with the gentleman they were arresting. But the department was, I think, Johnny on the spot. At the time, they didn't know that they had set fire to the inside of the building. And within about 10 minutes, I drove back by again and saw the fire. The police department had the fire department there. They knocked it down. It was a great job. I thought, so well done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Economist?
No comments.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor?
No comments.
All right, great. All right, and what items do we have for the next agenda? Remember, we will have 2 meetings in the month of June, so it would be, I believe, June 25th, our next Tuesday night meeting. Do we have any items right now we want to add to the agenda? Okay, we always come up with things that come along. The next thing is I always, no one has signed up for public comments. I always open it up, even if you haven't signed up. Is there anything that anyone would like to talk about? Okay, seeing nothing, the meeting is adjourned.